Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. I can't think of anything. Just falls on a sword. How's that for super dark? How's that for dark, baby?
That's super dark, but I'm
It's super dark. Well, these are super dark times. We've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
Who kind of idiot puts Kool-Aid in his hair?
And we've got Cameron Mickle.
Effing Skittles are delicious. Such a teenager way to speak.
I know, right? They nailed that down. I feel like teenagers. It sounded just like it did when I was in high school. So
I literally felt like I was in high school.
Kids, except I would just argue that with my closer friends, I did talk as perverse. And I know this sounds weird, and I know that maybe a lot of people will disagree that listen to this. I always see in movies that they're always like talking about escapades. I'm like, no, all of my friends, we all pretty much kept that to ourselves. Like, we never really shared like, oh yeah, like we would joke about it, like, oh, your mom's super hot and stuff like that, you know? Like,
man, you must have had amazing friends. All my friends, all they ever talked about it was that stuff.
Well, no, at lunch, yeah, they would make jokes to it, and it was lewd, but it was always in like a humor sense. This one, it was like, I really got the sense that they were sharing like explicit details of their lives, and I'm like, don't know if that was something that teenagers.
Oh, that totally
did.
happened.
And again, I didn't
with my friends, so I don't know.
Again, it was always lewd, and it was a joke.
Yeah, were you ever in a locker room?
Yeah.
Like the most...
Oh yeah, no. Again, usually a joke, but then again, I don't know. Maybe
some
you guys
kids would say things where I'm like, that's kind of taking it too far. In high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did take it too far, Cameron. Didn't some kids get suspended for
crap? Yeah, some kids would like in the locker room. They seniors would do that to like sophomores.
The other younger kids? Yeah. My goodness.
And so kids would get like suspended sometimes for shiz like that. And like sometimes I knew a couple of my teammates that would like drag my other teammates across like the locker room floor by their hair. And I was like,
how about that?
This is actually awesome.
Yeah, I was wondering that as I was thinking about it. I'm like,
all around.
I don't know if this was Ty's high school experience. Like, if this was mine. But, I mean, we didn't kill anybody, but I mean.
I remember killing people.
Just like I remember.
Killing people, covering it up.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm not going to lie. Josh's character in this movie made me think of you. But I'm like, thankfully, Jordan found a healthy outlet in murdering zombies in video games and not his friends.
Wait, is Josh the friend that kills the kid?
Or was his original outlet torturing animals, the deer that they first see in the opening scene?
See,
yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask you guys about because I have questions. I have very good questions.
Yeah, what is that?
Yep. Guys, we're discussing Super Dark Times. This movie came out in 2017. It was directed by Kevin Phillips. Its writers were Ben Collins and Luke.
Very talented director.
Piotrowski.
I want to see his other work. I'm trying to get my hands on it, but it's like he made this short film I can't find. Like, I'm trying to get my hands on it.
I was about to sneeze, but no, I don't think I'm going to anymore. You ever have that?
Yes.
That feels weird. Okay. Now I'm back to Earth because I was transported far away. That feels so weird. This movie stars Owen Campbell. Owen Campbell. Sorry, I think it's pronounced Campbell. We used to call it Bruce Campbell.
Did you recognize Josh Ty? He's in Ozark.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to get to that. I feel like this poor kid is set up to be typecasted as just a creepy teen, that's struggling with parents and family and all that. Elizabeth Cappuccino. Wow, her name is Cappuccino. That's a fun last name. Cappuccino. That is Cappuccino. That is just so funny to have a last name, Cappuccino. Why would you name... Oh, okay, whatever. I mean, pretty. If you're an actor, you can change your name. I would say, yeah, I don't understand Owen Campbell's problem with hooking up with Allison. Why won't Zach just hook up with Allison?
What the fudge, dude? When he turned away
maybe he is
kiss,
closeted gay. Maybe that would make so much more sense. Yeah.
No, because he had a lot on his mind. Oh my gosh, like... Ty's like,
I have a lot on his mind.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm like, get over it, dude.
Oh my god.
The girlfriend like Allison, man, I'd be over it, dude. Then we have Max Talisman as Daryl, and then we have Charlie. I don't know if it's pronounced Tahan or Tahan. Tahan. How would you pronounce that? Tahan. Charlie Tahan. As Josh. Amy Hargreaves.
Amy Hargreaves is pretty. And dude, she's in Blue Ruin as well.
As Amy. Yes, I recognize her from Blue Ruin.
Oh, you're right. I was like, where did I recognize her?
That's what I was going to mention. That was my little
She kind of looks like Holly from The Office a little bit.
A little, yeah.
A little bit. And then Sawyer Barth. Sawyer. How do you say his name? Sawyer Barth as just Charlie.
No, maybe she looks more like Dexter's wife, right?
A little bit, yeah. Definitely more like Dexter's wife than...
She was also in Circle, Cameron. Remember?
Yes, that's right.
She's the one that lied about being married.
Yep. Next to the guy. Yeah. Oh, we agreed that, we would help each other out. They went out together, didn't they? Or soon after. So, guys, super dark times. Let's get a plot synopsis of this movie. So it says, teenagers Zach and Josh have been best friends their whole lives, but when a gruesome accident leads to a cover-up, the secret drives a wedge between them and propels them down a rabbit hole of escalating paranoia and violence. Now, I think that's interesting because I think Zach took all of the paranoia and Josh took all of the violence. For some reason, I kind of wanted it to be intermingled. Does that make sense?
It was. What are you talking about? Like, when he came over to his house and he was just all alone, he was sitting there and he was playing video games with the music blasting. He's like, he was not dealing with it well, Ty.
I know, but he was all the violence. Does that make sense? Like, then again, Zach a few times outbursts where he would yell and stuff and he would like interrogate that poor 8th grader, which again, I have so many questions about the end of this film. So this movie has like a premise that I think a lot of people would agree. Like you said, Cameron, we mentioned this movie's kind of like Super 8. It's like Super 8 until it's not, or like
Stranger Things.
And Blow the Man
It's like
Down.
Stranger Things, Blow the Man Down.
And
I say Don't Tell a Soul.
Don't Tell a Soul.
No,
Low Tide. It does
It
remind
reminds me a
of
lot,
Tide,
Jordan,
yeah.
of the end of the effing world.
Oh, yes. Yeah, also. Yeah.
I do want to see that one. So again, the twist in this movie, or like the cover-up, the gruesome act is Josh is running around with this sword. He gives it to Zach, or Zach, I don't remember. It was Zach's brothers? No, it was Josh's brother who's in the military, has the sword and weed. And these kids are all playing around, and Daryl ends up falling on Josh as he's got the sword and gets stabbed by it, like in the throat or whatever. Yeah. And it proceeds to lead to just one thing after another, and he gruesomely dies. And all these
when
kids,
the sword is out of the sheath, I'm like,
yes.
put that thing
without
away.
mentioning it. I knew someone was gonna. I was like, these kids, man, this is just like Stand By Me, except it's not the go on the adventure together. It's like, let's cover up what we just did. I know what you did last summer kind of thing, where it's like, oh my gosh, we got to keep the secret, and how that riffs. That is kind of a motif that I've seen a lot in movies. This one was really well handled in the sense that I was believing everyone's reaction to what was happening. They did a really good job at bringing that initial horror. One thing that surprised me is just like, these kids were all just like, I mean, there was believable things, and then there were some unbelievable things. Like, immediately their thoughts are like, let's just cover this up. I don't know why. I just think it's so crazy with like,
what?
Most of the kids in the group are like, well, we got to hide this. It's like,
there are some things that I would defend, because one, they were he was smoking weed, so they know they would get in trouble for that. And then also, it's like, how do you explain that, like, you were how do you explain that, we were fighting and he attacked me while I was holding a sword, but it was an accident?
Just tell him that he fell on the sword himself. That's me.
Obviously, Ty, I think
I had no part in it. He literally fell with the sword
there's
forward.
never ever a situation with teenagers where immediately telling someone doesn't like benefit you.
Get you in trouble. No,
it will always.
The other thing that was unbelievable is
to tell immediately, rather than the consequences will always be better than trying to cover it up, because teenagers are so stupid and never can actually cover it up.
The other least believable thing was Sawyer Barth's character, or Sawyer, the Charlie kid, the 8th grader, not telling anybody. He was like the most tight-lipped about it all, and I'm like, the youngest is always the snitch, dude. But in this movie, he's like tight-lipped. He doesn't. He's great. He's like, hey, don't act like you know me. I'm like, how is this kid so good at getting away with murder? This kid's in 8th grade.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He also doesn't
That was
like
crazy.
8th grader, but
Yeah, it was great. He's watched apparently watched like a lot of movies or something.
Yeah.
Just started watching How to Get Away with Murder.
He was like me in 8th grade. Oh, don't talk to me. We can't be known as associates, because then people start piecing things together.
Associates, man. People start piecing things
together. I know. It was kind of funny. That. He's like, and plus he's like, I felt like he had the least amount to like lose, so I feel like he would have snitched easily, because he had nothing to do with it. He was like, I just witnessed this.
Nothing.
And like,
just witnessed it. Then again, it's like, why didn't you come forward? It's like, I was in shock. I couldn't remember it, and then I had a nightmare, and then I remembered it all of a sudden, and he could spill the beans about everything.
Yeah, and he was the intelligent one that's like, we got to hide the sword.
Which again, where did he come up with this stuff? Like, he just knew. He's like, you got to get rid of the sword. You got to get rid of this.
It's like he knew it was going to happen.
I know, right? Like I said, maybe he was more involved than we think. And that's what I was actually going to ask you guys, if you caught things that I didn't, because I was very surprised by his character, because I thought for sure he was going to be the snitch, because like you said, he was the least attached, and he could easily, it's all out of his control. Like,
I
he
think
didn't
that's
do most
also
of the
why
stuff.
it was maybe easier for him, is because he felt less responsible. Because it'd be like if I was hanging out with you guys or whatever, and like like Kevin died, like if you accidentally killed Kevin, Ty, I know you two would feel more involved than I would. I would like, it would be easier for me to, like, I'm not saying that like if Kevin died I wouldn't care.
Kevin, you heard it here on the podcast. Cameron would have no remorse if you.
No, I'm just saying it's one of those things where it's like when you're separated more from the thing. That's the only reason why I believe it's a little bit more believable that he was like less like, oh my gosh, because it's like when it's one of your best friends, you're like, I'm so responsible for this. And that's why like I felt like it was such a complicated situation for Zach, because he felt so responsible to cover up for Josh, is because he's like, this is my best friend, and he kind of saw it as there's a no-win situation if I tell the truth, because all it is I'm just going to be screwing over my best friend and no one wins. It's like he's already dead. So that's
I love that you used Kevin as an example, Cameron. Are you still bitter that he made fun of you when you were younger, when you were playing, remember you guys played that boxing game on the Wii, and then he was like, yeah, in your thanks, Cameron.
That I vaguely remember that. That's hilarious. The only thing I ever remember from Kevin was one time getting hit in the face in dodgeball. He hit me in the face from like 4 feet away and gave me a bloody nose. And I just remember both of you and Mom just getting so pissed at him. They're like, you guys were like, he's
it's just a game.
9. Like, what the fudge?
Yeah, dude, you got him pretty upset, dude. He can get pretty competitive. Kevin, we love you, man. That's why we have you on the pod, and that's why we love talking about you on the pod. You're that childhood friend that would have fallen on our samurai sword. We love you, Kevin. So 2 things.
It might have been Nathan. Oh, sorry, what?
It could have been Nathan.
Should we do what it was like watching first time?
Oh yeah, we definitely should. So because I've only seen this movie once, and that's why I wanted to ask you guys, because I feel like maybe there's stuff I missed, and I think it would probably benefit from a rewatch. But I have to say, after watching this, I don't think I really want to rewatch this movie, which is interesting because I enjoy the premise, I like the plot, I like some of the turns, but I don't know if I could punish myself and watch it. This movie's pretty punishing for sure. So Jordan, what about you? What was it like watching it the first time, rewatching it for the pod?
Well, back when I was working at Apple, I was just like watching everything on Netflix because it was like in between calls, I just would watch stuff. And so amongst like the garbage so much, I finally found this film and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this movie so freaking much. And then I just thought it was a hidden gem for the longest time. And then I finally rewatched it. And I was like, this movie is...
Futro hidden movie gem.
And I'm just like, this is a crazy film. Like, it goes along with all those other ones you guys mentioned. And I think I would have liked Blow the Man Down better if I hadn't watched this one first. And that's why I wonder if that's the reason you don't like it as much. Maybe not. It has nothing to do with that. But
yeah, I would say that movie never even occurred to me. To me, it's always the decisions that are made when everyone mutually agrees to cover up. I don't know why. These movies, this plot device,
How to Get Away with Murder.
I always have a hard time. Yeah, How to Get Away with Murder, and I don't know why. It's very hit and miss for me. If that makes sense. Okay. For some reason, that plot device where it's like,
because you feel like they'd be the snitch, and you're like, that character should have been.
And it's not even like there has to be a snitch, but also like, okay, I think they did a really good job.
That's so funny because you said the opposite when we watched Fury. I'm like, I feel like there would have been more good people in the military not to kill that. Remember, because there was a ton of people watching that one guy just brutally kill that guy. And I'm like, there would have been somebody else that would have stood up with the kid and said, we need to stop this. This is not humane. But you're like, no, I don't want to. It would have been like, and I'm just like, I think there would have been.
It takes a lot more courage. It's just easier to look away. Like, I mean, you know what's tragic? Yeah. If you're being accosted in an alleyway, you should yell fire rather than or something, because if you kill, no, everyone's just going to keep about their day. But if you yell fire, more people are more likely to help. I'm not kidding.
They're afraid they'll get hurt.
Someone else is going to go help, or there's someone else is afraid. Yeah, like
that's wild.
There's a lot of reasons why that is. It is wild. So like, you're better off yelling fire because
it just reminds me of that story of that lady getting stabbed
in New York. People are more eager to help.
Right?
Yes,
and people just watched it happen.
Just watch it happen. They don't know how to intervene. And again, it's really devastating to me because, again, I like the plot of this story. Where
shout out to the dad who came and fucking saved his life.
Yes, I love
Get
that.
Off
yeah, dude, at the fetching end. Yeah, get off him. Like, holy crap, and tackled him down. I'm like, thank goodness, because that was the ending that it needed, because I was like, where are the parents? Where are the adults in this whole movie? It's crazy. So I'm glad you mentioned there was
back in the day when it was like, hey, Mom and Dad, I'll see you later. And it's like, you know, hopefully they come home.
Yeah.
No cell phones.
No idea where they are. You can't call them throughout the day. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, just the home phones. Gosh dang.
Yeah, it's wild. We live like
funny
savages.
Funny how parents are now more helicopter than when they should have been more helicopter back then. When now you can literally call your child at any moment. Now people have like tracking devices on their children. When like back then, even when I was in like elementary and middle school, like I would just say, all right, Mom, go hang out with like somebody's on the
Oh
street.
yeah, I mean, we would
disappear.
tie a super long distance along that canal. Like anybody could have snatched us. Like
Everyone's like, they missed their chance.
Sorry, that just made me think of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. How come I wasn't kidnapped?
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
I feel left out.
About that. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. Why did they choose me?
You wanted to be chosen as a child kidnapper?
Oh my gosh,
So
so
funny.
bad, dude. It's Always Sunny is the worst of the worst. Love that show. So, like I said, I don't know. Do you guys have a favorite? Like, is this your favorite, Jordan? Of like the we all know a secret, keep it a secret. What do you think?
yeah, it's this one's definitely
Up there.
first because I mean personally like. I don't know, like you said, it's not your high school experience. This was literally, like, the kids, the way they talked. Like, okay.
Literally my high school experience.
We killed a kid.
We killed someone and
I'm trying to get this off my chest, guys.
Yeah. He's like, Jordan's like, well, what do you think? Would you guys keep it a secret? You would keep it a secret, right?
Please tell me you keep it a secret.
Tell me you keep it a secret, right? Because I got to get something off my chest. Oh, my gosh.
No, but no, I just like what this director does really well is captures moments, like this moment when they're on the bridge spitting and stuff, and there's that music. Like I just felt like there were so many moments that I enjoyed with my friends, and they just talked so like perversely and just
eating garbage food outside a gas station.
Yeah.
Definitely understood
Yeah,
that
squid.
one.
Oh.
Did that. Yeah, squid. Yeah, definitely knew that one all too well. Eating dumb food for your friends and spitting it out. I definitely did that.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it was
I ate
very
a disgusting
nostalgic.
tomato under this thing on a $40 bet. Like you just do stupid things.
Ate a garden slug for some money. Oh, we all did it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, dude. Most chewy thing I ever eaten.
And
is a garden
stop.
slug.
I just feel like, and the moment when he kisses the girl, like I just felt like they captured that so well. I love.
Does he kiss her though? He almost kisses her.
No, he finally kisses her.
Finally kisses her.
I'm pretty sure. Now
trying
I'm
to
like
remember now what
second-guessing
the
myself.
fudge, yeah.
I know, because remember
There was a
he
lot of dream
tries to,
sequences too, where he was like kissing her.
which were super weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
got to get into that. What do the dreams mean?
Okay, well, I thought they like sort of kissed when it was the party, but then he like, dude, that was so funny.
Yeah, it was after the party. It was
Wait,
after the party. That was the first kiss.
Yeah, after she headbutted him. Or
Oh yeah, because she like tries to go in for a kiss.
Yeah,
and-
she tries to go in for it. And
Yeah, see, that was captured also well. Like, I just feel like it's that awkward teen years where you're like
Yes.
making so many mistakes and
and you
figuring
also
things
you
out.
try to act like you're like a 20-year-old, but you're totally not. That's what I love.
Yeah,
is everyone's
and
trying
they
to be
cuss
like,
a
oh
lot.
yeah, I'm a college age kid, and it's like you so aren't. Like just in their like their romantic skills, it's just so like obvious. Like just the headbutt,
Yes.
like headbutting somebody going in for a kiss, like can it be more amateur than that?
Karen's like, I personally have never
Oh
experienced
no! See, that's
that.
what I'm saying. My first kiss was so cringy because I like
Yes,
I like
mine too.
slithered in
Yeah.
there because I went in. I was gonna go for the kiss and then I got scared, so I went in for the hug, and then mid hug I went in for the kiss. I was like, what? The
Oh, Cameron,
fuck?
mine was the worst. Cameron, I drove away and I got a text that she wanted to kiss me. I drove back and then I talked to her. Then I went in for a kiss.
That's beautiful.
Jordan turns his car around.
She's a massive U-turn like Jason Statham.
And then I ring the doorbell.
Pulls the e-brake.
Spun
The
around.
father answers, yeah, what?
Your
He's like,
daughter's
"Oh, I
gonna
just
kiss
need to
me."
see your daughter again. Your daughter said to come back. Yeah. For my special treat.
Well, and I said something stupid. Like I said, I'm like, we gonna do this?
Katana in the back of his
Are we
car.
gonna do this? Oh my gosh.
said,
yeah,
"Are we
he
gonna
shows up
do
with the
this?"
katana,
And
dude.
then when I kissed her, she was like licking my teeth because I just kept my mouth shut.
Oh, very romantic.
Nice.
See, that's like
Yeah.
I'm one of my really good friends. I was talking to her, and she reminded me of when I was 16 or 17. I told I like sort of liked her, but I just wanted to kiss her, but I didn't want to make things complicated. So I asked her if I could kiss her to practice for other girls. Not the move.
Wow.
I'm
Nice.
How about that?
Smooth.
Like
Okay.
not the thing to say
So
to a girl.
my first kiss was the grade older than me, and that's why I thought she had no interest in me. And she grabbed my face and kissed me, and I was not expecting that. So that was very much a shock
Ty's
to me
first kiss
because I
was a
was
kiss.
not. I was completely. I did not give consent. I did not give consent, which is the only form of morality that we have these days.
she didn't headbutt you.
Yeah, no headbutting, but it was wild. Like I remember thinking, like, oh, like she's a year older. Like there's no way in which like this older junior would ever be looking at a sophomore.
A sophomore, yeah.
Or like a sophomore. And so it's funny that you mentioned that because, there were nostalgic moments in this movie that I was like the 80s. That took you very back into, I almost got the feeling, where is this
90s.
set? I almost felt like the 90s.
Oh, 90s. Yeah, sorry.
90s, yeah.
It's like VHS and...
Yeah.
Yeah, like the VHS times,
They got the home phones.
The home phones, the cords, all that stuff, and the technology and stuff. It did feel very 90s.
I thought that one part that was super funny is like the dad yelling while she's on the phone. That reminded me a lot of like growing up and people calling the home phone, because I would answer a lot of the time and they'd always be asking for one of our 700 siblings. And so they're like, is Ty there? Is Jordan there? And I'm like, yeah, hold on. Like a 5-year-old just fetching past to the phone.
You did always answer the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cameron was always there to answer the phone.
As if there was some
one day someone will call me.
5-year-old just honey, just like is gonna call me. I'm like, I'm not sure what I was waiting on. I just wanted to like be involved, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe one day I'll get a phone call.
It's just like some lonely deprived child.
Inside jokes. I'd love to be a part of one someday. Let's get into
first time watching.
So, I guess we could say two of our favorite things. Oh wait, did we not finish that? Cameron, what was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it?
For me, watching it, I had no idea what I was like. I didn't watch any trailer. Didn't like have any preparation.
Me neither. Went in absolutely blind.
Yeah, totally blind. I'm grateful for that because I didn't really know what to expect. I looked at some reviews and stuff like that. A lot of people said it was really boring because clearly they didn't like keep watching. And so I didn't really know.
They watched the first 20 minutes and then they stopped.
So I was kind of like, it kind of gave off similar like Perks of Being a Wallflower, just like coming of age vibes where I was like, okay, Stranger Things. And then as soon as they were whipping out the sword, I was like, something's gonna happen, man. And then as soon as he got mad and was swinging around that sword, I was like,
my heart was racing like crazy fast.
Oh my gosh.
I actually thought it was going to be Josh that would get hacked up by Daryl.
I thought he
Daryl
was going to
hit
kill
him first.
I really thought that was really good. Yeah, overall viewing experience, kind of like Ty mentioned, a little punishing. There's some gruesome scenes that I was kind of...
That ending?
Yeah, I was holding my hand on my head and like I had to lift up my shirt and like practice my breathing because I was like getting really lightheaded. I was like,
my heart was racing it's
different from just seeing someone get gunshot. Like that's always my least favorite scene in movies, when people grab blades, when people stop blades with their arms. I'm like, ow, ow, ow.
Oh, I know. That freaked me out, yeah, grabbing a blade.
Oh, yeah, and then same thing when he blocked it.
I couldn't tell
if he blocked it with his cast or if it like hit his head, and because there was just blood everywhere, and I was like, oh, what's happening?
It was so crazy. It was so crazy.
I felt like I just got stabbed and I was like losing blood because I was really lightheaded. But honestly, like...
Cameron, I had a cool samurai sword. I got rid of it. Not even kidding, after I watched this movie.
No way.
Because I have nephews and nieces that come to visit and I'm like, I don't want them killing each other by accident.
Yeah.
Like, I threw it away. After this movie terrified me.
So crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, just overall, just pretty crazy experience. I like the film was like still like amazing. I thought it was very, very well done. The director's very talented.
For sure.
I just have to say, I love the chubby friend when he's just like comes into his brother's room and he's like, oh, are these his girlfriends? Oh, this place is so awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Daryl's character, that was so sad and tragic. I mean,
yeah.
He's probably the most innocent of all of them. I mean, I got the sense that I don't know, maybe he had no issues, but he seemed like he had like some disability or something like that.
If anything, he has like kind of like anger issues, and like I think it also has to do probably with his home life and situation.
Yeah.
Because and you heard once he died, everyone was like, "Oh, good riddance." Like clearly the kid's lashing. Lashing out because he has like no real friends and love.
I only remember like two parents. There was like Joan and then there was Karen, right? Those were the only two mothers I think I remember, and the fathers were absent.
I like that because it's kind of like, as a kid especially, you kind of think the world revolves around you and only you exist.
Yes. And your parents only interjected when they were like concerned about you, and you're like, shut up, Mom, you don't understand. You don't understand.
Yeah.
You know?
I really liked Karen though. She was a really cool mom.
Yeah, she's a fun mom.
She's like, come effing hug me. And then she's just like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Because I feel like kind of like you guys, like what we were talking about, like back then it can get really scary, especially something like that. Like a kid goes missing and you're just like, oh man, like if it was you. And like I think that's kind of what was getting to his conscience as well. Which, can I get into two of my favorite things?
Please.
I think one, the cinematography, just the camera work is really just awesome. I love kind of like there's like really quick cuts, and I love how I felt like the director treated us like very intelligent viewers, because I did not...
There was also moments where it would be like that, what do you call it? I call it the all I remember is from the Christopher Nolan, the Dark Knight scene where there's a silent scream and there's all this ambient noise in the background and then it just cuts. I don't know what to describe it. Remember when he's mourning the loss of Rachel Dawes and he's sitting in the hospital bed and he's flailing around and the music's like swelling. It's just like, it's like this tension is building, and then it cuts to the next scene. And you're just like, whoa, like don't cut back to that hospital room. I don't want to see any more of that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that. And they did that like 2 or 3 times in this movie where it was like, you see a character, like it was usually Josh or it was Zach, and you just hear like music swelling in their head, and they're just so lost in their own mind, and then it just cuts, and the music cuts out all of a sudden. If you can call it music, it's that swelling.
Yes, like the
I don't know what to call it. It's like
yeah.
swelling. Yeah, it's just swelling and bubbling up. So
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, the camera work was just really I think it just like added also to kind of the uneasiness and like kind of like a teenager's mind of just like bouncing from thing to thing, kind of like random cut, like you were talking about, like you're just like, oh frick, and then you're like, someone's like, hey, and you're in class and you're like, oh frick, like what's going on. That was also a super big fear of mine growing up, is I was always worried about like falling asleep in class and getting that. I was like so scared of that shit, dude. I always was like, I'm never taking a nap at school for something like that to happen. But I think my second favorite thing, you can edit that out.
Keep it in, dude. Mine was we always laugh at the kid that had to go turn on the lights after watching Romeo and Juliet. Kid was sitting there in the back with gym shorts. He stand up with a and he had to turn on the lights, because he's watching the whole scene where at the balcony and they're talking lovey-dovey and stuff. We always laughed at that kid.
That's a rip.
Poor kid.
Poor Mark. I was always so scared of getting a while passing the sacrament.
I always had a What is that? Dude?
I don't know what it is.
Dude, what is it, dude? It's terrifying.
No, but
you can either leave that in or take it in.
Please take it
I
out.
don't know.
Pretty indicative of Latter-day Saints.
Probably
right?
just bleep. I'll cut the whole thing and just bleep it. So just be a beep, bleep, bleep, bleep. Did you listen to the last episode, Ty, where I just bleeped you out like 15,000 times?
I have. Is that the one that just came out?
No, 2 episodes ago.
Insidious 3?
I'm trying.
You
to
were
remember.
talking, and it was like bleep, 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 bleep. And then he bleeped, and then he bleep, 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 bleep.
I think I do remember. Yeah, there was like one moment where I'm like, I remember what I said. I didn't remember it being that disturbing, but you like cut it, so it's like, it reminded me too much of Arrested Development when he's just like, and you tell her, Lucille, to. Just like goes on this long tirade, and he's like, funniest edit ever, dude. So
and then
good.
I think my second favorite thing is kind of what you also already mentioned. I just think the score in the movie just kind of sets the tone really well. It just made me like so uncomfortable. There's multiple times like I wanted to pause it or like turn off the movie just because like I just felt uneasy as a viewer, because I'm just like it's kind of the same thing as watching the TV series You. Like there's so many moments where I'm just like so stressed because so many things are starting to pile up on him, where I'm just like, this is too much. It's starting to add to like my life stress, and like I can't do this. Like that.
I'm glad we're talking about stress, Cameron. Have you seen Uncut Gems and Good Time yet? Oh my word! I'm watching those right now. You want to talk about stress?
Getting ready for next week, Ty.
My heart elevation is like, my blood pressure is like.
Yeah, so just kind of watching this,
Through the
like,
roof.
I just thought the score just made it like just made you feel so uneasy, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and it just like you kind of it puts you in his shoes really easily, because you're just like, I feel like I just murdered somebody and I'm trying to cover it up. I think really good directors can do that, because otherwise when you feel separated from the character, you don't really care what happens to them, but like you feel super invested. Especially like for Josh, I'm kind of like, honestly, whatever he gets, he gets what's coming to him because he's a little crazy. But I felt really bad for Zach, because I'm like, he didn't do anything and he's just trying to cover up for his best friend, trying to like keep everything together, and like you could see he genuinely cares about the mom and feels bad that like she's looking for her child, and that he knows where he is and like can give her that peace of mind, but he can't because of his best friend. And so it's things like that I'm just like, he feels a lot more human to me than Josh. And that's what we could go into later about like theories about Josh, whether or not like that was just the tipping point, or was already just like it was just the biggest roll of the snowball that it was already rolling.
Right, so I thought it was interesting. You guys mentioned the deer real quick. So, because I would say my two favorite things, kind of like what you said, Cameron, is I enjoyed watching the rift of the two friends, the friendship being torn apart. The only thing I wish there was more of, I almost wish I saw more of Josh, is because they did Zach very, very well. I got completely what his transformation was. To me, I was just kind of almost taking a turn, like at the very end, I'm like, was Josh just waiting for his opportunity to start murdering people? Like he turned into full Jeffrey Dahmer mode, And I just have questions about that.
That's so
all.
funny because you love It Comes at Night, and I feel like this is It Comes at Night, where he's like obsessed with the girl, and he's like he's like let that consume him, and now he's just like I will kill to have him.
It is lust.
Is less. Who's the unreliable narrator? All the dreams that he's having, dude. Yeah, that was crazy. Zach was having a crazy dream.
But he just becomes like so like
I think that's interesting that you mentioned that because that does help because there was the girl. What he did say that Allison's character was like someone that they were both jealous over.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting. And then I love the weed drama, like where he had brought the weed and he's like, "Don't use it." He refused Daryl to have it, and then he's all
and
of a
then
sudden,
giving
like,
it away to the girls,
giving it away like it didn't mean anything. And I was like, that was a good moment where he was like, "What the fudge, dude?" Like Daryl died over that stuff, basically. Like I mean,
yeah. And
I just thought that was really well
just
done,
a kind of defense because I kind of thought the same thing. I'm like this random kid going serial killer, but the one thing I will defend. So you never see his parents. Also, you mentioned that his brother is in the army, which usually...
No. We do see the mom once when he like goes to talk to her. Remember? She's like that creepy mom that just looks like she lives on her own. He goes to talk to her, and she's just like, "Well, you can come see him." Like,
let me
ask
if he's up for it. He's like, he's his best friend. It's like, I'll effing come if I want. And so
because she's noticing something's off, but she doesn't want to pry, so she doesn't know what's going on in her son's life.
Yeah, that I think shows that she's not involved in his life. And then they also mentioned that his brother's like a prodigy, so his brother's getting all the attention. His older brother is in the army.
Oh, sorry.
His older brother is.
Sorry, I just love I'm sorry. I was just gonna say just to add to it because you see Amy, Karen, the mother, with Zach many times. You see their chemistry, but you never see Josh and his mother in the same shot together. So that's a great way of alienating him. Josh is very closed off. Whether or not he had a relationship before all this happened, we don't know. But it's never shown on screen. So you just get the feeling like Josh is just an alien at this point.
Well, he even said he's like they're never home. They're working. And stuff.
And it's also mentioned that his brother's in the army, so obviously his parents are going to love that child for being in the army, and then it also has a prodigy brother, so it's like the two brothers are getting all the attention. He's the forgotten about child. No one really cares about him. Doesn't have a lot going for him. The little girl of his dream is obsessed with his best friend. And so it was like he doesn't have a lot going for him, and so I think that just kind of like
and now he's buried the secret.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of feel like it's one of two things where it could be like he was already kind of like a messed up little kid, like torturing animals, and then like as soon as he killed a human, was like, you know what, I can kill people now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So where was the evidence of the torturing animals? Where was that?
The deer pot. There's like it's just a fan theory that the deer was tortured by Josh.
Where was the deer? When did we see?
I thought the deer came crashing. It looked like because there was a broken window. It looked like the deer came crashing through.
Oh, that's right. At the very
look at it.
That's right. I totally forgot the beginning, and I remember specifically writing that down, being like, "Don't forget the deer." What was that about? Like, I do remember thinking, there's going to be some mystery.
The deer was like, it wasn't just like it was like kind of brutalized.
Well, but I think that was when it came through the window. It like got cut up like really bad.
It definitely did get cut up by the glass, but
why would it jump through the thing?
So if it's clean enough and clear enough, maybe it just thought
I don't think that would kill it.
And why show this random deer jumping through the thing?
That's what I don't know.
I think that deer was terrified for its life, trying to get away from a murderer like Josh.
Also,
like, it really
another
could be.
theory is
how could he catch the deer? I don't know.
Also, another theory is it's just a super wild theory that I was watching on YouTube, and it was a fan theory that I think is
I love these fan theories, Cam. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
So you see how the only character that's repeated is Allison. She sees the deer, and it's her perspective in the beginning, and it's her perspective at the end. So a theory is that she saw that and kind of has this like this lust for blood, and she's like being around blood and like being around like death, and so that's why like if you see in the scene where he like brings out the sword and he's like, "My turn," she's like waiting, and so it's like there's rumors that she was setting up all these people she was like in cahoots with him. Like because she knew, because they were yelling and she saw what happened, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I can manipulate Josh because I know he likes me into like killing these people without me having to get my hands dirty, but I can still be around this. Super wild. I think it's very out there.
The only thing is, there doesn't seem like she seems genuinely terrified of Josh, and no part of that.
But why would when he's hacking up the other girls? And like hacking up the other girls.
No, but she did get hacked.
Only slices her neck, not brutally at all, and where it will have no effect over her, like long term. I'm just saying.
We don't know. Maybe he hit a bone. Maybe he just started hacking at her neck.
And she's totally fine. Yeah, you see how...
No, she wasn't. She went to the hospital.
Oh, all she had was those 3 lines.
At the end, you see the scars.
Yeah.
No, I know, but you see the scars at the end. No, what's meant by her reaction? I thought that was weird. When the movie ends, it's like you see her scars, and has she moved on from it? I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, Cameron, because I was curious about the ending. Because the beginning, I was like, she watches such.
And if you notice, during the film, she's also always touching her neck. Like, go back and watch.
Right, and she doesn't have the scars.
Yeah,
yet,
because she has scars there, and she's subconscious of it.
Before
she touches the scars.
Okay,
it's almost like well, no, but Jordan, I'm just trying to interject where Cameron's mentioning
Jordan,
these fan
you're
theories. I'm like,
expecting me to have
why
concrete
did the
evidence.
director
That's why
think,
it's a super far out there theory. I'm not gonna have any evidence for it.
But even then, I love the idea. It's like, why expose Alice? Again, to me, it's just foreshadowing, Cameron.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to argue is the brutality that she witnesses with the deer,
which I think
she sees again with her friend.
And then that is her covering it up. I think is her moving on and saying this brutality is not going to define who I am.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Which I think is interesting because it definitely affected Zach, and Josh, right?
Who's most likely either expelled or in jail as well.
Right, exactly. And that's one thing that I was almost disappointed in because I have so many questions at the end. Like, I mean, Sawyer's character, Charlie, the 8th grader, I want to know what happened to him. We never see what gets to happen to him after that, which made me disappointed. But again, like you mentioned that he was the least attached to it, so he could kind of disappear. Yeah. And it's like, how many people like that are out there that have these secrets that just move on in life?
Had that podcast about, remember what was the one where when he started the podcast, they couldn't find him, and then after he did it for a long time, they finally found who killed the chick.
Oh,
Ted Bundy? No,
it was one of those true crime podcasters. Yeah, that he like started the podcast and then
uncovered, unsomething. Anyways,
up and vanished.
Up and vanished. There you go.
Is it up and vanished or gone?
No, up and vanished. That's it.
What's the parody of that though that I told you to listen to? It was so funny. It's like up and vanished or good and gone or something. But like that. That's
funny. The same thing. Like those kids all were involved in a murder and hid it, and then years later it finally came out.
Yeah, so it will never. You can never get away with murder if more than one person is involved. I'm sorry, but it's literally impossible. One of the two is gonna crack.
Unless you're the Zodiac, Cameron. You got away with it. And there probably was more than one person.
He died in prison.
But I'm just saying.
Just saying, he never got convicted.
But he also probably was taking credit for murders that he didn't commit, which is ultimate. True. That's big brain moves. That's when you're like.
What about those What about those letters though? That were
I don't think he was the same.
Was he the one that wrote
the posters?
Those?
Yeah.
See, but
I think he wrote them.
He could have been writing them, and they could have either been in cahoots or not even cahoots, and he just like he's a sicko who enjoys messing with people.
Yeah, he watches way too many movies, I think, and he just wrote those.
Interesting. I never thought of that theory where he was just
a sicko, just
creepy
playing.
Guy that was taking advantage
and then
of
the guy
it,
in Zodiac was just like
murders,
actually just gonna kill. He's like, I'll just do whatever the F I want, and then you like do your thing.
Very interesting. So I like that, Cameron, because it is interesting, like why start the movie off with this deer. I do love the idea that maybe Charlie had somehow, or Josh's character had actually brutalized that deer because there were it looked like ample cuts. So, I mean, I don't know if it just all happened from that mirror. Yeah. So maybe that poor animal was getting away from
Ty, you jumped through a window. Do you remember the opening scene of, is it Good Guys? No, what is it? Something where Ryan Gosling punches through the window and he cuts his arm on the glass. And it's just like cut.
Was that Tough Guys? Was that?
Yeah.
Or was that the parody?
Something
right?
Guys.
Nice Guys.
Anyways, Nice Guys. So he punches the window and it just cuts his arm like crazy long. All you have to do is jump through it, and with a broken piece of glass, it could have cut that deer.
But there was a lot of slashes. Okay. Also, who?
Right. I just
a deer gets halfway through the window and it's like moving around.
It's not in the middle of the air, like wiggling like a worm.
No, he gets halfway through the window and then stuck on it, and it's cutting him, and so he's like moving, trying to get through the window.
Totally fair. That's what I was going to ask. Is there any other one piece of evidence about animal cruelty? Because one thing to remind you guys, Josh does go back and brutalize.
That's right.
Who brutalized the dead body?
See,
well, I thought he was trying to get rid of evidence because he cut off the fingers. So it was like, oh, what are they going to look for?
I thought that too, but no, it was kind of creepy because I actually thought an animal had gotten to it and was nibbling him. But and then it was like it was a severe clean cut, and then as soon as he goes back, he can't find the sword, and that's when I knew that Josh or somebody, the 8th grader, I might have thought, had gone back and gotten the sword. Because he goes back and can't find the sword. Remember that? When he finds the dead body.
Yeah, well, and he has the sword.
Yeah, so Josh has the sword.
I love the 8th grader's response. Why are you telling me this? So you can lure me out there? if he kill me, he's like, screw you, don't call me.
See, again, Charlie is like
the
highly
smartest
intelligent
one.
8-year-old. Yeah.
He's so
The smartest one.
paranoid.
He's like, yeah,
See,
don't
his
come to
paranoia
and
saved him because he's like, don't link me in all this. Y'all are effing psychos. I hung out with high schoolers once and somebody effing died. I'm not doing that shit again. Get away from me.
I know, that poor kid, dude. That poor kid's gonna grow up with that, dude. He's like, all high schoolers murder people, dude.
I just love that. He's like, why so
Crazy.
He's like, this is what happens in high school.
And I love
Cameron,
it 'cause he's
I like
he's
that.
like, Zach's like, what? So I can lure you out there, but I'm like, it does sound super sketch. Like, come back out to the place where like you witnessed like a murder and like with a sword. Oh, but yeah.
So logistically speaking, I don't know how Josh would have procured a deer or gotten close enough to a deer to harm it. But again, I still love the idea, Cameron, that you're saying, because he did brutalize Daryl's body.
Yeah.
That was very apparent.
Because that's the thing is, I think
what happened.
I think most logically is just the fact that like I think he just like didn't have a lot going for him, and like just the accident kind of made it snap where he's like, I have nothing left to lose, so F it. But like I think it would be
because I've already done it.
I think it would be
and it was great too because Zach also was probably the last one that could hold it, but poor Zach already had his own stuff to deal with keeping his secret. It reminded me of Hot Tub Time Machine. I know that sounds so crazy, but Lou, he's the a-hole friend that brings everybody else down.
Yeah.
As a result, and that's what Josh's secret ultimately does, because Zach actually had a lot of things going for him. He was obviously the more popular of Josh. Like, he had Allison who liked him. He was doing well in school, at least for as far as we could tell. He had a good relationship with his mother, and all of that was strained.
He just seemed like a normal, good kid.
He was like completely impotent when it came to Allison's character. She tried to kiss him. He couldn't even just be a teenager. He like was consumed by this thing. He couldn't think about anything other than keeping his secret. And his relationship to his mother was strained.
Like, oh, what's
punching a wall. He started experiencing rage.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Oh, just one of my best friends got murdered by my other best friend accidentally. Like, how can you just like explain?
I know where that missing kid is. Yeah, and now he's been brutally mutilated.
Yeah.
And lying in a sad, shallow, no grave, just covered in leaves. It was so depressing.
I did have a nitpick. Why did he ditch the bike?
Which bike? What bike?
As soon as he saw the body mutilated, you see him just running to the houses. Which he just ditched the bike where he saw the dead body. Maybe he was just in so much shock that he just immediately ran. But I was like, there's no way you're running faster than your bike could go.
Right. I do remember him like dramatically tossing the bike aside. I didn't think too much of it, except
because he had his bike later at the end again.
Right.
So
right. I guess he was always planning on going back for it. But the other thing too, I think it was interesting. One thing that my nitpick was just like Allison. I guess Allison and her dumb friend that likes pot so much that they're willing to hang out with someone like Josh. I could buy that, I guess. Like, just the idea of like, you have like cliquey popular kids all of a sudden hang out with like these two dorky kids, but because he has like a supply of weed, I can kind of see that.
I mean, kids, seriously, like they're always like trying to
hang out with whoever has
like adults. Cameron said,
"Oh, you have a hookup?" Yeah, it's like Josh is like, "Hey, you have a hookup that sells weed? Tell me about it." Josh doesn't have one, and he lies about it. Yeah. I am the guy. Yeah, he acts all tough and cool.
Do we think he killed the other kid? I mean, are we to assume that?
Off the bridge? Yeah, see, I liked that mystery too.
The way he drank that milk?
Yeah,
he killed him. You're fucking kidding me? Ain't no sane person drink milk like that.
Yeah. Chugging it, dude, yeah.
And then, dude, the way he wipes his face, he's like wiping blood off your face? Oh my gosh, you psychopath.
Yeah, dude. Cameron, so I like that you said about that. And what's really funny is Every Favorite Painting talks about milk in movies. And this was another one that if
No
Every
Country
Favorite
for Old
Painting had
Men.
done it.
And then also Clockwork Orange.
Oh yeah,
Clockwork Orange.
That is so funny.
There was one humor moment in Catch Me If You Can where it shows how young Leonardo DiCaprio's character is when he asked for milk from the flight attendant. It's a good way of establishing how young he is. He didn't ask for an alcoholic drink. He's like, "Oh, do you have milk?" Like, it was a great way of establishing how young Leonardo DiCaprio was and in over his head he was. But in this instance, it's really good to show very offsetting because, again, he's a kid. You shouldn't be offset by this, but because we know that it's likely that he's now on this killing spree. He might have just killed this other guy, pushed him off a bridge, and played it as an accident. So now he's stabbed someone, he pushed someone, he can get away with all these murders, and that's when he goes back and mutilates the body. Like, it is very interesting, and I think it is to be assumed that he pushed the guy, because I don't know why the stoner bum would have reason to kill him. I mean, obviously, if I were a loser stoner bum, I'd probably throw myself off a bridge, but I'm sure that kid doesn't think he has nothing to live for. He can't wait to get high again.
A really out there theory as well. It's my own theory.
Yeah, that's what the aliens, dude.
No, aliens. Okay, I think I know it sounds insane, but I think maybe there's something in the weed that's like rage induced, like it causes you to like act irrationally, because as soon as what's his name smoked it, he like maybe he also and most likely he probably already had anger issues before, but Daryl like tried to attack his friend. And then also
try to attack Josh.
And then maybe like the weed that they smoked or whatever, or just makes you act super irrational. I mean, weed does do that. So, but like, I don't know. Maybe there was something in the weed, and that's why he wanted to give them the weed so that he could take it, and it would like make him act irrationally or whatever, so he could kill him or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
Can we also address how much of apostasy that is making a blunt out of the script page out of the Bible? That's like, is that instant hell or what?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I gave a Book of Mormon to somebody, and they used the pages to smoke weed out of.
On my mission, I saw somebody
rip
out pages of Bible, and he was smoking it.
Apparently, they work really good. The thin pages, it just rolls really well. So, yeah, you're right though. Instant hell. Yeah, it's one of those bullet train to heck kind of things.
One of the members of the 70s.
How I spent my summer vacation.
Ty, one of the members of the 70s called out one of the missionaries just for throwing down a Book of Mormon on the table, like not gently setting it down. So I'm like,
how about that?
Yeah.
I've seen him disrespected. I'll put it that way. So I do love that, Cameron. I love the idea of like why, other than the foreshadowing, which was fine. I'm fine leaving it at that. But I do like the idea that it was good how they teased that this other kid ends up missing, and it was somebody that made fun of Josh and
earlier
and Zach with the stoner kid, and I'm like, oh, it was a good way for him to just push him off. No one would see it, and if he died on impact, who wouldn't believe that he jumped and killed himself? And it's
especially doing drugs. It's like, oh, he could have just slipped, and it's like, and she literally said like, oh, people F around all. And when she's like, why do you care so much?
They die on that
she's
bridge
like,
all the time.
Oh, wow, I sound like a total. And I'm like, yeah.
But Zach suspects Josh that he did it. It was very quickly on, and that's what's so sad too. Where and then again, I almost wonder if it's possible that Josh didn't do it, and that actually was a suicide, and that was another thing that pushed Josh further down, because he's like, wow, you suspect that I'm responsible for everyone dying. He says that. He says that.
Yeah, because
he does say that. And I like how they leave it ambiguous, because regardless if it actually pushed him away and into it, or in the end, we know the ending, and it's
just another reason to hate his friend. Yeah. Because he already hates him for taking his girl.
Yeah.
Yes. And now it's like, now my best friend thinks that I could just murder anyone on a whim, So I like both interpretations. Both work, so. It pushed him into it, or if he actually did do it, it's good, because it's just the rift between two friends coming apart at the seams, because they're holding the secret together, trying to keep their friendship together, but this secret that they're trying to keep is just pulling their friendship apart in every which direction. So I like that. Any other nitpicks? I guess, like I said, now that I talked about it more, I do like the twist, because I forgot about the one stoner that ends up dead. It was either whether or not Josh had anything to do with it or not.
So
it was good because
it works
his
both
friend
ways.
Zach does confront him about it.
That's why I think
both
on
ways.
initial watch, it's kind of hard because it feels like super rushed. But then once you kind of like dive deep and you think about it, you're like, man, there's kind of not a lot going for this kid, and like you could see why his life was really tough. His and losing your best friend when like his best friend is essentially his brother. Like
the only thing keeping him grounded.
And his other brother's
good point.
His other brother is at war. His other brother's a prodigy who probably doesn't really care about my loser nerdy brother. So there's like so many things where he's like, you are my brother, and then his brother's like, one, steals his girl, and then two is like, oh, you're a psycho killer, you killed him. And it's like, even if he did or didn't, both ways it's like, all right, you're no longer like, we have no loyalties.
One instance where ambiguity does serve a higher purpose. I like this ambiguity. See, again, it's not essential to determining what Josh ended up doing, but both ways, whether it worked or not, it still served as a purpose to push him farther away from Zach and their friendship to split apart. So that is one good use of ambiguity that I really like. Because again, do we believe Josh's confession where he says, no, I didn't fetch and kill him? Because he even says serial killer. He says the words like, you think I'm some serial killer now, like I'm just going to go out and murder everyone. So it's a good defense just because he's...
I think that's either one, it's like it shows that he's not psychotic and that's the last straw to break his camel back, or he's ultimately psychotic and he's like, come on, you don't think I'm crazy. He's got like those crazy eyes.
Right.
Like
So that's actually why I wanted to ask you guys. When do you think the moment that he turns psychotic is just returning to the body and mutilating it? Was there a moment in Josh's life where
I don't think you can
maybe
go
it's
back.
when his friend accuses him of it?
I don't think you can go
when
back
is
from.
it?
Well, see, what we don't know.
Just from the accident?
We don't know,
do you really think he couldn't come?
We don't know when he mutilated the body. I think it's a possibility that he mutilated the body after he accused him of like murdering him, and he just took out his anger
Which I
and
believe,
frustration.
that's what
on
we
the dead
see.
body,
That's
and
what we
he's
see.
Like,
yeah.
He's like, it's all your fault. Like that, all of this is happening. My best friend thinks that I'm a murderer because of you, and just like cutting up Daryl's body. I think he could be taken.
Kind of creepy that you're having all this dialogue, Cameron. Like you were there or something. You're describing stuff that we haven't seen on camera, and
I'm just saying if there needs to be behind the scenes.
Because for those of you that are listening, Cameron was like hacking away with a sword, a cadaver, while he's saying all this, which wasn't shown in the film, but you described it in full detail. Thank you, Cameron, for giving us the run through of a serial killer's mind and making it.
Dude, that's I really want to watch.
Run.
on my watch list is because you guys know is Mindhunter, because you guys know how obsessed I am with serial killers. I just love like learning the way they think.
I started that one. For some reason that one failed to grip me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I didn't love it. It was alright.
Really?
I think something about the writing. I want to give it another shot because I remember someone actually talked about how they worked really hard to make sure it sounded like words that they were using back in the 80s or whenever it was made. But even then, I was like, why am I feeling... Yeah, it was just so strange to me. And again, I love the idea that this is before the invention... Yeah, I loved it. It was like before the invention of a serial killer. Because before, they're like, people could actually routinely kill someone. Because they always believed in crimes of passion and accidents like this movie. They never believed that someone was so sick and sadistic that could actually...
And want to do it more.
Yeah, and want to do it more. Or have a disposition to do it.
I kind of overhyped it too because it's like David Fincher. This has got to be another masterpiece.
Yes. Oh, he directed it?
I think he only directed a few of the episodes though, right?
The first two or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like most shows they do nowadays, Like Jason Bateman in Outsider. Cameron, go watch Outsider. That's a good one to watch in between this. You'll love it. Jason Bateman.
Oh, the first two episodes. Just the first two.
Just keep watching, though. The whole show is great. It's 10 episodes long, or 8 episodes. Watch The Outsider, Cameron, with Jason Bateman.
Just the
really
first
good.
episode and the second.
That's actually what this reminded me of a little bit, The Outsider. A lot of that, too. Different, but you'll like it. I know you'll like it, Cameron. Yeah. So I like that. Like, when is the moment that Josh...
I think it's
starts killing. I like that. Right after
I think it's the friend.
He gets accused about killing the one kid, the stoner.
As soon as Zach says like
he has nothing
you
left.
Did it, it's like okay.
And it's sad too because he is validating the fear.
And Josh even came to him maybe to try to like say, hey, I'm trying to like be better. Like we should maybe come forward. Like I don't know if that's something he would do, but like maybe he was like, dude.
Or even just we need to stick together. Like we need to have a friendship.
Yeah.
They don't talk after
like,
the accident, really.
He's like, what the F, you've been disappearing, like you need to be there for me, and then he throws out and then you maybe, and it's like, and then possibly this, and he's like, are you fetching kidding me? And that's kind of why when I think like he doesn't say what he might have been like was going to say, which you never will know.
I know. I think it takes such restraint as a director to not show that because it's like you could just tell the audience what it is, but it's so much better like not knowing because it's like, oh shoot, is he crazy?
Or I could just sit outside the director's house and just pester him. Tell me.
What is the meaning?
Kevin Phillips just find his
Does
house.
the top fall over at the end of Inception, Christopher Nolan?
Or is Deckard?
Doesn't matter.
Is Deckard a Blade Runner? Or I mean, is he a robot?
A replicant?
Is he a replicant?
And then you could just be Ridley Scott on an interview and be like, yes, he is.
Yes, he is. And then Harrison Ford and the screenwriter. Nope, absolutely not. I love it, dude. I love it. All right, guys. Any other nitpicks or things you wanted to throw out? Maybe quotes from this movie?
It was a fun movie.
Not very quotable.
This director is a master at suspense. I had seriously...
Very suspenseful.
I mean, I was gripping my seat so incredibly tight the whole time. I was like, that ending just...
And probably grinding his teeth as well.
I know. It reminds me of Last House on the Left, which I don't recommend because this movie is that, but without the... So it's just...
Oh, lovely. It's just as stressful. And there's...
Are we to assume that the one girl in the bed is dead? We're assuming that, right?
See, okay. So I will get into one nitpick that I have about this movie. This movie needed another 5 or 7 minutes to show what happens to the protagonist. I never see what happens to Zach.
But also,
and I never see what happens to Josh.
I have an interesting counter argument to that. We've talked about how. So I think it's trying to prove that everyone.
The movie ends with their friendship.
No. Everyone is the protagonist of their own story. So she is a side character, but she's the protagonist of her story. So we're showing her point of view from the beginning with the deer, and it ends with her. True. So she is the true protagonist, but is featured as a side character.
Yes, because in the end, that's her arc, which is good. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, this story fundamentally is the crux of the emotional weight is the relationship between Zach and Josh, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
These are the two. And I always kind of interpreted Zach as the protagonist, even though I think it's interesting that you mentioned that it's actually Allison's character who's at the beginning and end.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. But her relationship to Zach is also a very pivotal part of this because Zach's relationship to his mother and his girlfriend.
Also, because if you see
Josh
some
is
scenes,
all impacted because of the action of Josh.
Some scenes with Zach when he has his hand and it appears that he doesn't have a cast, it can be interpreted that it's actually Allison's hand and he's imagining that they're together.
I actually thought that there was a moments where he would grasp his hand and there was definitely a feminine hand, like definitely feminine.
Yeah, and so that could be him imagining like, oh, Allison is one with me, you know.
Interesting. I just don't know how to read it other than the fact that because I think he was trying to connect with her, right? But because of this super dark secret that he was keeping, he failed to do it. Imagine it in real life because he fantasized about it, right? Like he was so excited to settle down with this girl or whatever, you know, start dating her, going steady. But the secret's keeping him at bay. But you're right.
And then his best friend just has to effing murder one of his other friends.
There was a moment literally where they interlocked fingers, and it's very clearly feminine hands. Yeah, I do agree with that. I definitely saw.
Well,
that.
I love all the random crazy things that happen.
Block of the century. Murder one of your best friends.
It kind of reminds me of Atlanta, you know, that one episode, Ty, where they go to prison, just all those random things where he's on the bus and there's just that crazy guy and he tells him a bunch of things and it just...
Oh, when they're in the precinct, or waiting in jail for bond,
but before,
right?
when he's on the bus and he meets that crazy guy and he tells him a bunch of, like, crazy deep things and you're like, is this supposed to be relevant or important? Is he an angel? Like, what is this? And I love, too, because this show has, like, all these moments where you're just like, I mean, it totally reminds me of high school, but also, like, just, like, the random crazy things that happen. You're like, I wonder what that was about. Like, that kid that ran down the hall and he's screaming, and you're like, oh, shoot. Like,
yeah, there's so many moments of those in high school. And you're
what was that kid screaming about?
I think he probably hurt himself, like, at like, a sports practice or something like that. And was
Do you think he witnessed a mutilated animal from Josh?
Was Josh the one that did it?
Josh was the one that did it to him.
No, and I love. I think it's one of the most accurate, like you guys mentioned, most accurate depictions of high school. Just the language and everything. Just the most unnecessary swearing. Just like so much use of the F word that I'm like, it's literally pointless how much you guys use it. And they're like, that's what I love, like, because like effing Skittles are delicious.
And I love how word gets around and like how they distort the story. Like kids are whispering.
Yes.
And I just like, oh my gosh, that is so high school. It's like what they hear from one person gets passed around.
Right.
And did you hear that he called the teacher a C word and he got kicked out? And like just so many,
Again, those were good things, right? Josh was lashing out. I liked all of that stuff.
And also the fact that Josh didn't tell Zach that he was at school when he's been like looking for him. And he's like, not like went behind my back to go to school, but he's like, you're not communicating with me, like, and we need to be on the same page. Like, this is the one time.
Yeah, he goes in the principal's office and you just see him. They look at each other. It's creepy, and the scene ends. See, that was another one where they cut it. Where I'm like, I wanted to see that conversation, but like you said, it was a skillful director that was like, it was very intense. Where he's like in the principal's office and Zach is looking through the crack in the door, and Josh looks back at him to see him in the principal's office. It's just really well done. I liked all of that. So in the end, like I said, I just have so many questions. What happens to our favorite 8th grader, the smartest, paranoid 8th grader Charlie? What happened to him, man? He carries it to his grave, probably.
Take me out there so you could effing kill me?
I want to know what happens to Zach. I want to know what happens to Josh. Like, are they both carted away? Does Zach get away with this?
Okay,
because he's not culpable.
Okay, I have to say though, there's some moments with Josh that he gave off ICU kid vibes with the Frogger mask. Just the creep.
That's another movie that this reminded me of.
Like, you just look like a fetching serial killer, you creep.
Yeah, I went full Jeffrey Dahmer, and again, I mean, it was fine, and that was very suspenseful, running around the house. I thought that was well stage where it was very intense with very tight claustrophobic spaces. But
we're best
a sword
friends.
is still so dangerous.
He books it for the fetching door. He's like, come on, man, we're best friends.
Terrifying. Just running out in the yard with someone with a sword after you, it's just got to be the scariest thing. Like, to me, it's scarier than the gun. Like, you see people in movies where the guy's chasing someone with a gun. Someone chasing you with a sword just seems so much scarier. I don't know why. I really believe that. It's just coming up to hack you up.
Oh, yeah. Like, dude, no, there was a person on my mission that got chased down by a guy with dual machetes.
I would much rather run from a
guy with a shotgun.
A guy with a gun than a sword. I don't know why.
Absolutely.
I know you could possibly outrun him, but the fact that they might catch you with the sword, that freaks me out. Just freaks me out. Shoot me with a gun from a distance. I don't care.
Oh, when he's fetching.
Do not stab me or slice my back
Maybe
open.
it's because you won't die instantly, you know?
Yeah, you'll be hacked to pieces or whatever.
Oh,
like,
when he's
it's terrifying.
when fetching Daryl sprints away after the sword getting pulled out of his throat. He's like,
oh, I know. Just runs away, spewing blood everywhere. That was terrifying. Very scary. Poor Daryl, man. Rest in peace, man. Because you died a horrific death. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, holy crap.
Well, and that was my only question if it was based on a true story. I should have looked it up. I don't think it is.
Good question. Does Zach or does Charlie pull out the sword initially?
It's Zach.
Yeah,
because once again, the 8th grader dude,
Charlie
he was the one who
was
said,
saying, leave the sword in. So again, smartest 8th grader of all time. Are you smarter than an 8th grader? Charlie, you survived this one. Dude. You're the smartest kid.
Charlie's like a genius. Don't take the sword out. We're taught not to take the sword out.
Not to take the sword out, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Charlie's a genius.
It's great.
Maybe Charlie was behind it all. He's the mastermind.
So what do we learn from this movie? Don't play with that katana sword. Put it away.
Also, you'll never get away with murder if it's
swords.
with more than one person. I'm telling you, man. You can't trust anyone.
That's right. And if you have
Cameron's like, I do it alone.
Make sure you get it. Make sure you get an 8th grader that'll help you out.
Yeah, get the smartest.
Help you out.
You got to.
Are you smarter than an 8th grader?
No, dude.
He'll
Moral
help
of
you
the story:
cover up the
if you kill someone, you got to live a paranoid life if you want to survive. Like you just got to be paranoid as frick.
Just gotta be paranoid.
No, but that's actually how you get caught, is because you make mistakes if you're paranoid. So you have to just pretend like it never happened.
What? Well, no, you gotta.
Like I've already forgotten about that one time, Cameron.
about that one time that
you guys keep a secret, right?
That Jordan murdered somebody and then I witnessed it and I was that 8th grader. This is actually Jordan. Jordan submitted this.
That's why we have such a strong bond as brothers. Yeah, we all carry a really.
How do you think we got this podcast started? You know how many people we had to kill?
We are those
We've
three
all
characters.
been building to this moment here on the Future of Movie Gems. Here on the Future of Movie Hidden Movie Gems, we are going to explain to you all how we got away with murder.
You're Zach, Jordan's Josh, and I'm Charlie. Grant's Daryl. We murdered. We were supposed to have him on the podcast, but we murdered him.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm the genius paranoid one. And Jordan's the murderer. And Ty's just the one with too many things going on, trying to figure it out.
Suffering. Just suffering. It's so crazy. Love it, Cameron. Love it. Well, guys, do you have any last minute thoughts you wanted to throw about Super Dark
really
Times?
punishing, but just really well done film.
Well titled too. Super Dark Times.
Yeah, it's kind of like a R-rated version of like Stranger Things minus like the sci-fi. It's just if you love that kind of vibe of like the teenage like coming of age, like but then with like a super dark twist.
Dark nostalgia. Yeah.
Really solid.
Kind of strange.
Yeah, but I would say like Stranger Things is like this is a definitely step up from that. Well, I mean as far as like violence.
Yeah. No, and that's the one thing I
Stranger Things.
I would give as a nitpick as well is there's a few too many like or not just like scenes where I was just like a little uncomfortable. But I mean, I guess that is kind of like teenage life. When like that girl was
totally
like, with the pen,
frustrated,
like
but
the pen scene, I was like, what the fudge am I watching?
I did not get her deal. I don't understand her deal.
Pressing the pen. I'm like,
that's totally high school girls. You don't remember those girls, Ty?
I mean, again, was she trying to come on to him? Was she just making fun of him?
No, they just do weird, stupid like things. Like I don't know. That's just happened a lot in my high school.
Like while tapping a pen.
Yeah, they do stuff like that. Like. Anyways.
It's like, hey, you remember this girl? Yeah, didn't she go to the hospital because she's...
Dude, that actually happened at our high school, Ty. You didn't hear about that stuff?
No, I didn't hear about that because I think...
Yeah, she used a and she had to go to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
I'm laughing. I shouldn't laugh. That's horrible. That poor girl.
Oh my gosh. High schoolers are the dumbest people ever.
Dude, the dumbest kids.
They
dude.
are. They seriously.
Well, dude, we had a child born in our high school, dude. He brought his kid to every day.
Well, there was
I won't
a
mention
kid.
last names, but Dewey would bring his kid to high school. And I'm like, that's gonna get old really quick.
There was a kid under house arrest for assault.
House arrest.
And I mean, he says he was innocent. We don't know.
Dude, Wanakee was built different. And I remember one of those teachers getting fired for drinking with the people at a barn, with some students at a barn. I'm like, that was the most Wanakee thing I've ever heard in my life. Some teacher just knocking back some cold ones with the boys after a Friday Night Lights game. Like, what?
We all made fun of one of our teachers purely based on his looks and profiled him as a predator, which is so sad. And again, no idea. To date, I don't think he's ever been convicted or anyway. Just so crazy. I'm like, kids can be really. You ever want to meet the most scary, meanest people on earth, just go to a high school or middle school.
Yeah, brutally honest. Yeah, you want the truth.
Well, and that's why I felt like that scene was so real because, like we fought a lot growing up and thank goodness we didn't have like a sword or something because we had airsoft guns and we would shoot each other and out of anger and stuff and so it's just like goodness gracious, thank goodness we didn't have a sword because what if we accidentally stabbed each other?
That's what I'm telling you, dude. Daryl's just like Kevin. He would smash controllers out of anger.
He did throw a lot of controllers and a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
If Kevin had anything sharp, dude, he would have murdered one of us.
Maybe
Kevin. Maybe Kevin would have turned out to be Josh. And then murdered him back.
Well, Corey was telling me, Corey tells a lot of stories, and I don't know which ones are true, but he said, his neighbors, these two girls, they were fighting so much and, never-ending yelling. One of them ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, chased her down the hallway, and, was hacking at the door. And the other girl called the police, and the police showed up. And
I remember meeting that girl, and I remember thinking, I saw her at school, and she always made me feel uncomfortable after that because I was terrified. I believed the story to be true.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I never know with Corey. He told so many stories.
Never knew it was true. Yeah, I never knew if it was true, but I still was terrified every time I saw it. My heart would jump, skip a beat because I'd be like, is she going to chase after me?
Just looks at her the wrong way and English class. She comes for your life.
I genuinely was that way, dude. Then again, I got freaking PTSD, man. I was stabbed by a girl with a pencil. It drew blood. She got, I'd probably say, about I don't know, half an inch or an inch thick into my forearm. She just, I was reaching for a paper and, sometimes you get paper that were stuck under each other. So I grabbed hers and I kind of rubbed my fingers together.
Did she yell rape and stab you?
No, but she stabbed my arm. After I gave her back the piece of paper, she reached over and stabbed my forearm and my arm started gushing blood and I ran out and I went to the bathroom right away, and then I was like, oh my gosh, one of the kids was like, you're going to die of lead poisoning, which is why I eventually actually confessed what happened because I was afraid that I would die. I didn't want to be a narc, but I was like, I'm afraid of getting lead poisoning. And she's like, why? And it's like, I was stabbed by a pencil. And she's like, you stabbed yourself with a pencil? And I was like, no, I didn't stab myself with a pencil. But anyway, I was like, please help me. And they're like, you're not going to die of lead poisoning, kid. And then they're like, okay, so who stabbed you with the pencil? We have to report this. And I was like, And then I was like, she did it with tears. I'm like, she's the one psycho lady. I hope she's doing okay now because she made my heart skip a beat every time. Not out of pitter patter and love and butterflies. It was terrified. Every time I saw her, I was like, she going to stab me again with a fetching pencil? Yeah, she could fetching stab me in the neck.
Oh, yeah. I've been held at knife point and it's the most, it's horrible feeling. They slid the knife across my throat. Yeah. I was in so much shock, I thought they had slit my throat. I was like, I turned to my companion, I'm like, am I bleeding to death? And he's like, you're fine.
You're fine, Elder.
He's like, it was the other side of the knife. And Jordan's like, I'm dying.
Yeah, and Jordan faints.
But I actually stabbed somebody with a pencil too, so I felt kind of bad about that. Because I broke it off into his back.
Oh my.
Holy shiz.
Are we sure Jordan isn't Josh?
Are we sure he's not Josh? Yeah, and then I bit you in the back once, Jordan. Drew some nice chunky skin, and then I also got into one fight in high school.
At my wedding dinner, you were like
rehearsal dinner.
I ate some of Jordan, and so I had human flesh. You were making cannibal jokes. It was hilarious.
I was trying to make it. I was trying to make it light,
dude.
Jordan. Yeah, I know, and I was laughing so hard at your guys' jokes, and then I could see her parents look at me like, ha, ha, ha.
That's when I made the joke too when Cameron said like he tortures us and Jordan was laughing. I was like, look, Jordan still gets enjoyment out of it, and then you laughed even harder because you're like, I know, maybe I'm laughing too much. Like I'm just trying to play this off as like it's not a big deal. I don't torture people anymore. It's just something I used to do.
They're like, this is gonna be the future husband to our daughter and
I know. He's oh my gosh,
father to our grandchildren.
Send her head in a box to our front doorstep.
What's in the effing
box? I'm gonna shoot. What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the fetch box?
So I've seen so many movies. I can either breeze through all of them and then just give my 2 seconds synopsis of all of them. Like I don't know if you want.
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
Okay, so real quick,
I'll try not to say too much about it.
I've watched tons of movies. Yeah, so I watched American Pickle. Has anyone seen this movie? Seth Rogen.
No.
Seth Rogen. It's a good movie. American Pickle is actually a really good movie. It's about family, tradition, and religion.
I heard it has a good message.
It's a very good movie. It's a very mature film for someone like Seth Rogen to make.
I've been very impressed with Seth Rogen. I love his work. Like he's been producing so many good shows. Like he even popped up on a YouTube video with some other. Like he's like, I love your guys' channel, so he showed up and he just. It was great.
It was chuckle, dude. Yeah. So yeah, I was surprised. It was a very mature film for someone like him to make, and it was good. It wasn't as funny as the other Seth Rogen comedies, which I would not get for humor, but it still worked as a very sweet film. It's actually a sweet film, and I highly recommend it. American Pickle for everyone listening. American Pickle, good movie. Look it up.
Wait, even Cassie? That's the real question.
No, I mean, it's a PG-13 film, and I think there's like one harsh word in it or something like that, but it's a really good movie.
You heard it here, Cassie.
Don't watch it, Cass.
Yeah, Cass, watch American Pickle. It's a movie about tradition, family,
Cass,
religion.
Trust me, I know you better. Don't watch it.
No, you guys need to watch it, and then you let me know. But Cass, I would actually suggest this one for you. I think it's for everyone to see. I mean, it's PG-13, so don't let your kiddies watch it.
Don't watch it, Cass.
Watch it, Cass.
Don't do it.
Watch it. That White Buffalo.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Great White Buffalo. Great White Buffalo. Because I watched the Hot Tub Time Machine, which is why I was thinking that. I also watched the movie Searching. This is the one with
I was going to do that on the pod.
Oh
no.
Or not Stephen Yeun. I'm thinking of a different Asian guy.
Should we do it next week then? Because I wanted you to I want to do this one on the pod. It's a hidden gem.
Right now, chill.
It's a good movie. I liked it. You know, only using computer screens and TV screens. It's kind of like the Unfriended, where it was like only on a Skype call. I liked how they did it. They did a good job at using like TV screens and whatever to show. It was really well done. I liked it. It was a good story. Lots of suspense and.
I cried a lot.
Yeah, it was a very sweet film at the end.
As you do in every movie.
Yeah, Jordan. You crying means
the movie
I
had
don't know
a
what
start,
it means.
beginning.
You cry in everything.
A beginning.
Jordan, it says more about you than the film. Let's just put it that way. I've been watching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's a new season now. I feel like they're doing a good job at walking the line of like humor and then dealing with
Cameron, you didn't know I bought it?
Like
No,
they have a new
COVID.
Season.
Let's go!
Yeah, dude. There's like 9 episodes already.
Have you finished the last 2 episodes of Rick and Morty yet, Ty?
I did finish this Rick and Morty finale.
Oh, so you knew what I was saying when I'm like, oh, I love trash. I love trash.
Yes. Oh, yum, trash. Yeah, that made me laugh.
You used to be a surgeon.
That used to be a meme now. Yeah, I'd like. You're a doctor. Oh, yum, trash. I love trash. I love that. Okay, so I watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is an amazing film that Jordan needs to rewatch. Got Arnie Hammer and Henry Cavill. Fan. You're not a big
fan. Thank you.
I watched it like 7,000 years ago. I literally don't.
You guys are messed up in the
literally
head.
don't remember anything except the bathroom scene. I literally only remember
of Guy Ritchie movies?
Of Henry Cavill in the movie and the bathroom scene. That's it.
In the bathroom?
Isn't there like a bathroom
fight? You know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. There's a fight in the bathroom. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's
Arnie Hammer when they meet each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only scene I remember.
Highly recommend. Man from U.N.C.L.E. is amazing. It's an amazing film. It's a good spy caper.
You know what is amazing from Guy Ritchie? Freaking Wrath of Man. I watched that 4 times.
The Gentleman.
No, if you do watch I watched The Gentleman is better than
I disagree.
Yes, it is.
I just rewatched Gentleman, and it's amazing first watch. Don't get me wrong. It was my favorite of his films.
I've watched it 4 times.
I've only seen it once.
I've watched it 4 times.
But I would much rather watch Gentleman than I'd rather rewatch Wrath of Man.
I watched Gentleman 3 times.
I watched Gentleman 4 times, Jordan. So it's like my.
Well, I will lie to you and say I've watched it 5 times. So how do you like that?
Gentleman, I love showing to people. I've shown it to 3 other people.
Yes. Well, there you go.
Wrath of Man's better.
I don't know who I'd watch Wrath of Man with, just to see Jason Statham lying down on the ground, looking most menacing.
Drew wants to watch Wrath of Man, so I'm going to be watching with him in the next week. So I'll let you know. It'll be my first
I love it. I
rewatch.
stirred up this
I
controversy.
watched Wrath of Man
watched
twice in theater. I'm young.
I watched the hidden movie gems from the 90s or early 2000s called The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
You watched The Rock?
I finally watched The Rock
love
for the
Rock.
first time.
Dude, that opening scene with that doll.
Can we cut the chit chat? Hey, how in the name of Zeus's butt did you open the door? Like those are actually lines from Nick Cage in this movie.
Dude, we need to do that on the pod. I love Nick Cage.
Cameron, it's a great one. It's
Michael
got all the
Bay
bells and
with Nick
whistles.
Cage. Like, what could be a better combination?
Yes.
Anything.
It is like the most action-y thing you can imagine. There's a ridiculous under the pipes minecart fight under Alcatraz. It's so ridiculous. Watch it. It's so over the top. It rivals like Face Off, and it's great.
Yes.
It's great.
Still haven't watched that.
Highly recommend The Rock. So that
Man,
was
you're
fun.
watching all these amazing movies that I wanted to do on the pod. Oh,
I know. We still will. I just had to finally watch
The
them
Rock
because it was bothering me.
Searching. Oh, so good.
Yeah, great movies. And then we watched Super Dark Times, like we just talked about. And then I watched a movie just like in the vein of Super Dark Times. I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because I was like, what are other movies about people murdering people and trying to hide it? Which is literally the whole premise of I Know What You Did Last Summer. So that was kind of fun.
Did you like it? I love it. I think it's funny.
Great song by Shawn Mendes.
I think it's actually a really good movie. I like what I Know What You Did Last Summer. It was really good. Cameron, I think you'd like it too. It's a good horror movie. As far as horror movies, I mean, there's language and there's some violence, but it's pretty tame.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised how tame it was. Yeah.
It does film like, I mean, 90s film, but it's really well done. I liked it. I mean, it's dumb and it has problems, but it's great. Like as far as like the slasher genre, because it's kind of like this. It's literally like Scream.
Yes.
In that vein of Scream, it's very much like that. So, and it had Buffy from Vampire and Freddie Prinze Jr. So it was very much a 90s film. I watched a weird movie called Becky. It's got Kevin James.
Dude, I was like.
That was a weird movie.
Well, I was like,
fetching weird movie.
Is this supposed to be funny? When he was like, because I'm like Kevin James like trying to cut off his eyeball, like.
Kevin James gets a key stabbed in his eye socket, and his eyeball is dangling, and he has a friend. One of his cronies try to cut it with kid scissors, and that doesn't work. And he goes down to plays his eye and his freaking dripped eye, freaking veiny attached eyeball, and cuts it on the cutting board with a knife. It's the most insane, disgusting, grotesque movie I've seen in a long time.
I don't know.
And it takes a lot. I literally put Cell Block 99 meets like Hunt for the Wilder People, but that's not even fair because it's not as anywhere near endearing as Hunt for the Wilder People. It's like a little girl, Cameron, that like goes full Rambo, I guess.
Yeah, she like stabs a guy with a rular and stuff.
She stabs someone with a ruler. She's like murdering all these people, and it's like teen angst about her father moving on from the dead mother. But again, I'm like, I don't get it. Is this all metaphorical? Is this just how a young teen girl feels?
I totally thought of Brawl when he had the tattoo on the back of his forehead.
Yes.
I'm like,
I actually put Kevin James gets a chance to be Vince Vaughn in Brawl and Cell Block 99. That's what I put. And I'm like, Kevin James and Vince Vaughn, I think they're friends, right? Didn't they act in a movie together? Dilemma? I didn't see it, but, so I'm sure they're friends. But anyway, I remember seeing that. But then again, Brawl, he has the cross on the back of his head, not a swastika. So you're supposed to hate Kevin James' character.
Yeah, but Kevin
James wasn't menacing enough. He was kind of a dweeb. He's kind of a dork. Kind of weird. Just a weird movie overall.
Yeah, well, and it was odd. It was like it was like, why wasn't he chasing the girl? Like he was just disappeared at random times. I was just a little confused.
I mean, I get it when his eyeball was hanging off dangling out of his socket. I understood that moment. And then there were other moments where it's like, why isn't he finishing
why did the big guy
killing her?
Did they explain why the big guy had a conscience and not hurt the
family? Why did she shoot the big guy? That made me more upset. I liked that the big guy had a conscience, and then she shot him, and I was like, F you, Rebecca. Why would you shoot the freaking big guy? He had a heart at the end, but in the end, it's like, oh, he's unforgivable. It's like, that's just how we do movies nowadays. Like, if you were bad at one point, there's no such thing as repentance and atonement and forgiveness. It's and mending bridges. It's just kill the character. Then you don't have to worry about the moral ramifications of how do you move on from somebody that tried to kill you. Does that make sense? Kylo Ren, perfect example of this. Just kill him. Sorry if I spoiled Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker. Or it's also called The Fall of Star Wars, Disney franchise, right? Oh, wait, no. Rise of Skywalker, not The Fall of Disney franchise. Excuse me. I always forget the title. It's not one of those two.
Gosh.
And then I watched Tell Me Your Secrets, which was a really strange movie. It's actually a TV show, on Amazon Prime. I actually really enjoyed it. I think you guys might like it. Kind of has a feeling of Outsider meets... I don't know what else it meets, but it's really good. It's like a... How do I describe it? It's a serial killer investigative kind of thing. It's a little slower, but I really liked it. It's a great story, good mystery. So I would definitely recommend it. Tell Me Your Secrets. Watch the first episode and let me know what you think if you see it. Then I watched School of Rock. Oh my gosh, Jack Black. This is the role he was born to play.
I love Jack Black.
So funny. We'll have to do that sometime on the pod. And then obviously we're getting into the movies that we're watching for next week. I watched Good Time. Holy shiz. And then I watched Uncut Gems. Holy shiz. I don't know which
How
one's
do
more
you find
stressful.
time with, you got kids, man. Holy crap.
Well, dude, so we've been apart for 2 weeks, which is
good
one.
point.
And so these were movies that I watched on vacation too. I just had the last
I
week to
forgot it
watch
was
all
vacation.
these wonderful movies. I was on vacation, so I got to watch movies all day and all
George's
night.
with Maddie.
Half of them, yes, like School of Rock, Tell Me Your Secrets.
I was like, you watched
didn't
Good
watch
Time?
Becky.
I was like, you watched Good Time and
No.
Uncut Gems with Maddie?
I did make Maddie watch Good Times, and I will never forgive myself for making her watch that stressful movie. Holy shit. She did not watch Uncut Gems. I will not let her watch that. I was like, I even told her, I was like, you remember Good Time? How stressful that was? This is like 8 times more stressful. With someone more deplorable than Robert Pattinson, because at least Robert Pattinson was good to look at. Adam Sandler is just an ugly man,
And
dude. I'm
700
sorry.
times the language. Imagine every 30 seconds.
And 10 times
F-words.
more stressful because every single character is just I don't know, like stressing me out. Every line of dialogue.
Kevin Garnett does a pretty good job in that movie, but I'm gonna rewatch it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it.
I love hearing you say it, Kevin Garnett. Yeah, see, because I love you saying that because I wanted to talk to you about the sport
Yeah,
aspect of
I
it, but we'll
thought
do that when
Cameron
we talk
would
about
love
it.
that, but
We'll have to rewatch it.
It's
I don't know.
stressful.
I just like
Stressful rewatch. I'll just say that much. So, yeah, that's what I've been watching. What about you, Jordan? What movies have you seen lately? You been watching anything?
I'll kind of breeze through them really quick. I know we say that and then we talk about them forever.
Dude, the longer the episode it plays to the length of the actual movie runtime, we're going to get more listeners.
I know,
Sorry,
tight.
It's just the truth.
That's why we're getting so many dislikes
Big
on
Trouble
Big
Little
Trouble Little
China.
China.
I
Everybody
know.
thinks it's the movie.
The movie. We didn't say it's the movie. Everybody, come at me, bro. All right? You don't like our content? Whatever, man. But I just think it's so funny. It's like, it's just the length that we discussed the episode.
People in the comments even wrote, "Hey, where's the movie?" And it's like, we never said it was the movie.
It's our review of the movie. Maybe they're thinking like we'll do a commentary track or something. We should try that. Just watch the movie play out and we just talk over it. Maybe people. I know I can't stand people that talk during movies, so that's why.
Yeah,
I'm
me
like, we
neither.
couldn't
I don't
do
know
that.
why people do that.
But it does make me laugh because you're like, oh, Futro. It's like an hour and 30 minutes long. Maybe it's the actual movie, and then you click on it. You're like, Dad, this isn't the movie. Anyway, it's out of our hands, folks.
I need to send you a clip, Ty. Somebody recorded at the last Oscars, they pronounced Bong Joon-ho's name wrong when they announced and gave him the award. They're like,
oh no,
Bong.
Oh my gosh.
Bong,
Pong.
Pong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho, Pong Joon-ho.
Ping Pong Joon-ho.
Poor guy. Poor guy, but yeah, he's doing all right for himself.
I watched so many movies, but I'll just say a couple of them. I rewatched The 5-Year Engagement, which was really cute and fun. I can't wait to talk about that one on the pod.
I feel like I'm drinking out of Chewbacca's.
You make tacos like a Mexican.
I got it.
You smell like tacos.
Guion.
Oh, yeah.
Guion.
Oh, we've been watching Last Man on Earth, Ty. We've been watching the TV series. So fun.
I was surprised because I almost wish I hadn't seen. Sometimes you'll see like an episode and it will have like characters that show up in it. Like as far as I was concerned, anyway, I won't spoil it because it's called Last Man on Earth. And I watched the first episode and maybe the second one, and I'm like, I do want to watch more of that show, but I just remember seeing a glimpse. I'm like, wait, how is this called The Last Man on Earth when something else is going on? So
Well, I listened to
I'm
an interview
interested,
with
though.
him, and there was like a bunch of like the studio wanted, I think, more characters, and they
right, why not?
and they didn't want to show any dead bodies. There's just like a ton of things. So
Right.
But it's so funny, like and. Dude, Will Ferrell shows up. There's so many freaking funny characters.
Oh my gosh, dude! I want to see it. I love Will Forte.
And
I think he's one of the best. He, like our friend in Hot Tub Time Machine, are some of the most underrated comedic actors.
Yes.
Danny McBride, Will Forte, and I can't even remember his name. I feel so embarrassed. From Hot Tub Time Machine, that plays Lou's character. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
I'll find it in a second. But what else have you seen?
Well, and another comedian that I love that's underrated is that guy in
Rob Corddry, by the way. Sorry, just had to throw that in. Rob Corddry.
what's the one with Michael Cena where their parents?
Juno.
Michael Cena.
No,
Yeah, they raised the
I hate
kid.
that
Yeah,
movie.
Juno.
what's his name? Michael Cena or Cena? What's that guy's name?
Yeah, Michael Cena.
Michael Cera?
Sarah.
No, it's
John
Michael
Cena.
Cera.
John Cena.
Or John Cena.
John
oh,
Cena.
Pluckers? Is it
Pluckers,
Pluck?
yeah.
That was actually really funny. I like
well,
Pluckers.
I know, but the other guy in
fine.
that is a hilarious comedian.
Oh yeah, he looks like the ugly. No offense to him, he looks like the ugly. What's his name? What? No, Mark Wahlberg. He's the ugly Mark Wahlberg.
Don't say ugly. I mean, he's just.
I mean, he looks like a squinty face Mark Wahlberg. He looks like discount Mark Wahlberg. But he's hilarious. I freaking love him. And I only dig him because I feel like me and him could like have a drink, dude.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
Ike Barinholtz, he is hilarious. Like
he's another underrated comedy actor for sure.
Yeah, he shows up.
He's
Cameron, he's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's the Russian dad or whatever to
Nicholas. Yeah, he shows up. Yeah, I love that.
Nicholas.
It's so funny.
No, it's Nicholas. That's what I said.
Yeah, I won't spoil it. But freaking dude, Cameron, you need to watch the latest season. It's not gonna spoil it. It's just a joke.
I just love Jake and
freaking
Amy.
Boyle Cummings singing the Willy Wonka. You can make a sunrise.
I love
so
Boyle.
good, dude. Dude, watch it, dude.
Cameron, we need to do an episode of Brooklyn
moments.
Nine-Nine.
Yeah,
on the
for
pod.
sure.
I think
sure.
There's moments where I like their relationship almost more than any relationship in Office or Parks and Rec. I think it's better than Pam and Jim.
It's funny that you say that, Cameron. I almost think it's non-existent in my opinion. Yeah, I almost think it's non-existent.
I think it's because I relate more to Jake than
that is
Jim.
so funny. You think you relate to Jake. I just don't see it.
You don't.
Yeah.
Jake drives me nuts. I don't think he's funny. I think you're hilarious.
You are so much like Boyle, and I'm so much like Jake. Are you kidding me?
You're more like Jim Halpert than you are Jake.
Really?
I will say, I think one of my favorites is Terry.
Ever, they would all, like any one of my friends, they would all compare me to Jake over Jim.
You're so different than him. He's such a weirdo. You're funny.
I still think Terry Crews is one of the funniest people in that
He's
show.
fucking hilarious.
He's so funny, dude.
Nah, Boyle's better. No, actually, Commander Holt. He's, oh my gosh, Captain Holt.
Raymond Holt
Unrelated.
is great, too.
You can tell by my facial expressions.
Yes.
He reminds me so much of that. See, that's the thing, too. Jake's relationship with Captain Holt.
Hitchcock and Scully are
like
so funny, too.
Okay, wait, the last
Hitchcock and
movie,
Scully.
what was the one the Coen brothers did with the guitar song?
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Thank you. I watched that again. Oh my gosh.
That's on my watch list.
Amazing.
Actually good music, which is crazy. Again, I don't know what their background in music and folk is, but like incredible soundtrack. Oscar Isaac has the voice of an angel.
And I rewatched Dunkirk. Amazing soundtrack. Oh my gosh. And I forgot to mention the soundtrack from Wrath of Man is amazing too. So much good music.
Wrath of Man, boo.
Love
it. Just kidding.
Gentlemen.
Whatever.
It was a good movie. I do
amazing.
need to give that
not
movie
better
another
than Gentlemen.
chance.
You're
Yeah.
high.
It's so sad that like your expectation of a director gets in the way of enjoying a movie. Isn't that sad? Like, I think if I didn't know it was directed by Guy Ritchie, I probably would have felt 10 times different. Like, if you had told me it was some foreign director about, like, a revenge film, I would have been like, oh, I'm ready for this. But it's like Guy Ritchie. I was, like, expecting some stylish... And I feel bad because, to his credit, maybe he's trying to break away from, like, the stylized...
it felt like he broke all his other rules.
Ty,
and
this
I'm like,
wasn't your favorite
good for
part of
him.
the scene?
Really?
Of the movie?
I'm trying to make the most menacing face from Jason Statham.
Oh.
He's dead on the ground.
Yes,
Dead.
I actually like it better because he broke all his rules. Honestly, I think it's...
To be fair, though, Jordan, I do think there's something to be said. Like I'm excited for Last Night in Soho because not only is it like a horror movie, but it's someone like Edgar Wright trying to... I don't know if he's going to do his normal stylistic thing. I would hope for the sake of horror.
Yeah, from the trailer, based on the trailer, it seemed pretty stylized.
Yeah. The color schematics?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like it's going to be his stylized version is not going to be for comedic purposes because in the end, this is the end or at World's End or whatever it's called, World's End.
It all leads back
it's
to
all
comedy.
for comedic purposes. But there are some moments in it that actually use as horror in Hot Fuzz. And I'm like, if he can use his style to create an emotion of like fear and scares, like he might be a really good horror movie director. So anyway, I'm just really excited. He's defying my expectations by doing a whole genre bend, and even if he can keep the same style but do a different mood, that's a skilled director, and that's why Wrath of Man is a very different mood. It's a very stoic, sad film, whereas like Gentleman is like outrageous and funny and a dark comedy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I did rewatch Scott Pilgrim also, and I think Hot Fuzz is his best film.
Yes,
it is.
I think Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead are tight.
No, Baby Driver.
Baby Driver's number one. Baby Driver. No, it's fun. I think Baby Driver is one of the most fun to watch.
And I rewatched Drive, Cameron. I'm sorry, Drive is way better than Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Oh no, Drive is a masterpiece. It's in my top, I think 40, but I still have Baby Driver.
Did it really?
Yeah, I still have Baby Driver higher though. Just too much good music. Too much good music in Baby Driver.
It's literally a music video.
Baby is literally me.
Guys, Baby's it's so true.
That's true.
Ansel Elgort or whatever his name is.
He's a good-looking dude.
Igor. I don't know his name. I don't know. Is he handsome? He's got those creepy fang teeth, I think.
I love his personality.
He still would have made a better Han Solo than that dweeb they dragged out.
He's awesome in Fault in Our Stars.
And Solo, yeah.
No, he would not have been. It should have been Miles Teller. Why do we keep going over this?
And what? And Han Solo
Yes.
freaking would have loved it. And they should have done a comedy like War Dogs and do a Solo movie where he's like a buddy cop with
War Dogs,
Chewbacca.
so good.
Could have been
That'd
so
been sick.
funny with Phil Lord. And it could have been the Corrupt Capitalism movie. I would have totally watched a Star Wars Corrupt Capitalism movie. The Founder, War Dogs, American Made.
Yes.
Cameron, have you seen American Made?
American Made's
You ask me this all the
amazing.
time.
Okay, we need to. I was just saying that we need to review that because
Yes.
that movie
We
is
need to review
phenomenal.
War Dogs before American Made.
No, American Made is better.
War
than
Dogs is
I
better.
do
You're
like
right.
War Dogs. No, American Made is a better film. I think it's much better and more exciting.
Ty's like, oh, Tom Cruise so hot.
Oh, Cameron, you need to watch The Art of War, dude. You need to watch
jeez.
Nicolas Cage and the
lost
greatest
me.
actor of all time, 30 Seconds to Mars, Jared Leto.
Oh, dude,
He
Nicolas
gets
Cage
shot
tie?
like 800 times, and he's like flipping through the air. It's so great. You need to watch it. Just look up on YouTube, Jared Leto dying in Lord of War. That's the greatest scene, and just the most incredible acting. Actor of a generation, ladies and gentlemen. What were we saying? You said Jack Nicholson, or what did you say?
Nicolas Cage is coming out with a new movie called The Something in Ghostland. I'm excited. Maybe
Oh my
maybe
gosh,
it'll
Nick
be
Cage
good
is
enough
still
to
getting
review on the
work.
pod.
It won't.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Yeah, let's hope it is, dude.
It's gonna suck.
Hey, Pig, Cameron, never forget
Yeah.
It was nice.
Pig.
That's what I'm writing off of. I'm writing off of Pig and movies
gonna
like
And
be like-
Mandy.
It's not going to be
and
like Pig, though.
Color Out of Space.
I guarantee you. Pig was a
I don't know,
well-directed
we'll see.
film. Had nothing to do with Nicolas Cage.
I can't wait to see whatever Pig director's next
Guys
film
are-
is. All right, guys.
It's correlation, not causation. Nick Cage did not cause that to be a great movie. He was in a great movie.
I don't know. Cameron, watch The Rock. Nick Cage brings something to Michael Bay's
does.
absurdity.
I'm
He
sure
really does.
him and Michael
Those
Bay
two working together.
well together
Yes.
because they're both.
So,
they
guys,
fit that
this has been-
perfect niche of just so dumb it's good.
This has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. Like us, follow us. You check us out on our Patreon. Guys, this has been Futuro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email. Tell us a movie you'd like us to review next or a movie that we reviewed in the past if we've forgotten to mention anything about your favorite movies. This has been Futuro Hidden Movie Gems. Signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Stay safe out there in super dark times.
Don't kill your friend.
Don't kill your friends.